Right. Okay, well, thank you, Chris, for inviting me to participate in this discussion. And as we mentioned earlier, I do confess that I was a dropout in the work group. I think I lasted until session 2 or 3 when we went through the process of crafting a vision statement. I think that kind of did me in. With 30, I mean, it's hard to do with 30 other people, but I'm actually quite proud of the vision statement that we came up with, which did end up in the final plan. But based on, I have a few observations, just based on the few sessions that I attended and also looking through the meeting notes. The participants were quite diverse as far as, where they're coming from, NGOs, government, business leaders, and concerned citizens. And their meetings were all well attended. And we had lots of lively discussions, both in person and over email. And some of the main themes that were discussed include the importance of managing polluted runoff with green infrastructure, the thought that folks really strongly believe that our rivers should be bringing the citizens in our city together and not dividing us. There was a lot of discussion around thinking of water as being part of one cycle, which it is, but so much the way we manage water is in separate silos, and for example, things like stormwater and gray water don't have to be wastewater. If we improve how we manage them, we can manage them for reuse. And another theme that came up quite a bit was the idea that all residents in the district should have access to clean and safe water. And there were, like all the work groups, there were lots and lots of recommendations, over 122, well actually I think it was 122 total at the end of the work group. And I just listed the top 5, and you'll notice, and I'm not going to read through all of them, but you notice there's a lot of talk about green infrastructure, low impact development, removing regulatory barriers that discourage water capture and reuse, things like that. And then looking at what ended up in the final sustainable DC plan, I think they did do a good job overall of incorporating the priority work group recommendations. And when I say priority, I just really looked at the top 20 to 25, not all 122. And as I mentioned in the beginning, they also included a slightly wordsmith version of our vision statement, which I'm going to read because I'm really proud of this. It says, "We envision a district in which our water resources, all water flowing in and flowing through the city, will be clean and accessible to support good health, thriving ecosystems, and an innovative economy." So that was nice. They led off with that sentence in the plan, which I really liked. And then another observation is the plan itself had a little more breadth as far as topics that it considered, where the work group recommendations went into a little more detail, but they were pretty focused around, low impact development, reuse, green infrastructure, not so much on water quality specific things such as, reducing pollution from pesticides and fertilizers and sewage and things like that, which are huge problems in the district. So just want to, make a few observations for some areas where I saw some weakness in the plan, or areas that I think we need to follow as it moves forward. I was really happy to see it's great that the district wants to set a goal of fishable, swimmable for all rivers and streams in the district by 2032, because for those of you who know the history of the Clean Water Act, back in 1972 when Congress passed this law, their goal was to have all waters in the whole United States to be swimmable and fishable by like 1985. So we're all every city in the country is very far behind on that. So it's great that the district is, wants to take that on. But, EPA has assessed all rivers and streams in the district, and they're all impaired for something. And the top probable sources of impairment are stormwater runoff, sewage, overflow discharges, and other non-point urban runoff. And so, so this is an admirable goal, but we have a long way to go. And, and this plan needs to be followed up with the necessary regulations so we can ensure that we get to these measurable water quality improvements in the district. And, there's, as some of you know, there's a proposal on the table right now to further delay the stormwater rule that the district has been working on. And that's not very encouraging, because the longer we delay this rule, the less likely we are to meet these swimmable, fishable goals by 2032.